Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a 1999 Dodge Dakota Sport, and today I'm gonna review it for you guys. Now, you might be asking, wait Isaac, normally you review brand new vehicles. Why are you reviewing this pickup truck from 1999? Well, apart from this being vibrantly yellow, and that's not a common color anymore, this particular Dakota has a 5.2 liter 318 Magnum V8 underneath the hood. And that's an engine we just don't get on midsize pickup trucks anymore. Forget just the 5.2, we don't get V8 engines on midsize pickup trucks anymore, and I really wanted to be able to review this one. This particular one belongs to my friend from school's dad, and I saw it, he brought it to campus one day, and I was like, I have to review that. And so graciously, he allowed me to do that. So today, I'm gonna take you guys on a little walk around of this one and talk about some of the features. He's added some aftermarket stuff, but it is shockingly clean on the inside, probably one of the cleanest examples of these late 90s Dakotas. So I'm really excited to show you guys. Let's get started. Starting out up front on this Dakota, before we move underneath the hood, I really just wanted to talk about the design and the look of this thing, because I've always thought this particular generation of Dakota and the bigger brother, the Ram, are some of the most aggressive and sleek looking trucks on the market. I mean, they're just really bold in their styling. In 1994, when the Ram was first unveiled, that was the second generation Ram, that really just like changed the industry truly for pickup trucks. It was this big semi-truck looking design, and up until that point, a lot of the pickup trucks on the market were pretty much just square bodies and you could barely tell them apart. And so Ram really revolutionized the industry at the time and encouraged the other competitors in the segment to follow suit. And then we ended up getting that really weird early 2000s F-150 that was like all circular. Maybe that was a little too far, but in 1997, they updated the Dakota to mimic the Ram's design with the crosshair grille, and I think this knocks it out of the park in its looks department, especially in this yellow color. Now, this particular yellow is a factory color, but it was recently repainted to kind of revitalize it, and they added these like aftermarket mesh grill inserts right here. Now, I think that adds a great deal to the truck to continue to make it look modern and really sleek. And here it is, the 5.2 liter 318 Magnum V8, making 230 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Of course, a manual option was also available at the time, something that is also going the way of the Dodo on not just mid-size pickup trucks, but pretty much all cars. This was an incredible engine. I wanted to see if most of the vehicles from this time period also had V8s. And I looked it up, and no, the Chevy S10 and the Ford Ranger, the closest competition, I'd argue, to the Dakota back in the day, only had options for a 4.3 liter V6 on the S10, and the Ranger only had an option for a 4-liter V6 as well. So only V6s. Dodge has always kind of been the outlier, and we've only recently, I feel like, started to call Dodge this cool, tough, muscly brand, but even back in the late 90s, they were adding huge engines comparatively to some of the competitors into their pickup trucks, you know, something that wasn't commonly done. So this is a standout with the 318 in it, and man, this thing is powerful. I'd stick around for the driving segment a little bit later. But one of the cool things I wanted to highlight in the engine bay here, which you never see, I have literally, as far as I know, I just touched my mic, hopefully that didn't come back as a lot of feedback. As far as I know, I've never reviewed a vehicle with this before, but there is a factory light in here. So when you lift up the hood, if it's, you know, nighttime, it's dark out, you're in a shop or whatever, and there's not a lot of light, there is a factory light that comes on. Now, this particular one is burnt out, but that's just so awesome that they included that in here. I just can't believe that. I don't know why more vehicles don't do that. You know, perhaps I have done something that has had that feature. I just haven't noticed it before because I review all my vehicles in the daytime. It'd be kind of hard to watch my car reviews if they were all at night, but this is cool, and I wanted to point that out as a neat feature that Dodge didn't skimp on when I know I'm gonna get it. I know, look, watch me. if you're about to comment, I know someone's about to comment this, and I'm gonna read your mind. Somebody's gonna comment, they needed to add a light into the engine bay because it broke down so much that you never knew when it was gonna need to be repaired, so they thought ahead instead of making the engine better. No, this engine is fantastic. One of the other cool things with the Dakota was not only did it have the biggest engine in the segment at the time, it actually had 7 engine options across its model year range, including a diesel in Brazil. Fortunately, we didn't get that in the States, but it just went to show how much care went into the creation of this truck, and it wasn't just thrown out there. You know, like nowadays we have the new Ford Ranger, which only has that option for the 4-cylinder turbo, the EcoBoost one, and we don't have any other engine options. But Dodge was like, no, we're gonna give you like a multitude of choices. And so I really, really like that. And this is a fantastic truck overall, and I really like that. So done, next segment. Moving to the profile of this Magnum, that's a different type of car. Moving to the profile of the Dakota, not a ton to write home about here, but there is a few things worth mentioning, like this V8 Magnum badge right here on the front fender. I think it's really funny because you don't really see badges like this anymore on trucks, mainly because they're all like EcoBoost V6s, and why would you brag that you have an EcoBoost V6? Moving to the wheels, these are aftermarket 17-inch wheels. If you hadn't guessed already, they don't look that factory. That would be really cool if Dodge added that as an option. And then continuing down here to the profile, you'll have a Dakota sticker with sport spelled out in that cool late 90s like font that everything used. I love that. I really think that makes this truck stand out quite a bit. Black plastic mirror caps. This was before the age of luxury trucks. This has some neat features on the inside, but we had not gotten to the point yet that people wanted to use pickup trucks for not pickup truck uses, and they just wanted to drive them around and look cool because they sat up high. These were still practical use trucks, so they didn't really think to make body colored mirror caps back then, at least not as often. It was usually black, or you'd get a chrome one every so often. I think the F-150 King Ranch was the first luxury truck, and now every pickup truck in the world is like, look, I have heated massaging leather seats. Regardless though, that is pretty much gonna wrap up the profile. Let's move to the back really quick, talk about the bed, and then we'll take this thing for a spin. Moving to the rear of this Dakota, you'll have Dodge spelled out across the back here, as well as a 4x4 sticker. And then if we pull the tailgate latch, dampened tailgate wasn't even a term back in 1999, but it just goes to show you how far we've come with luxury features, even for the bed. Regardless, you'll have a spray-in bed liner right here and some nice tie downs. Other than that though, it's pretty sparse. This is pretty much a work truck like I was saying before, though I do want to highlight that this is a 6-foot bed on the club cab. That is also going away on newer trucks. There are still trucks that have that as an option, though the Ranger, the new Ford Maverick, the Santa Cruz, the Jeep Gladiator, no options for 6-foot beds. That's really disappointing, but that's just how the market goes, I suppose. Last thing I wanted to highlight back here is that the bumpers are actually body colored. So even though the mirror caps aren't, and as I said, this is more of a work truck, this sport appearance package does give you body colored bumpers. Moving to the interior of this Dakota, as I mentioned, this is one of the cleanest examples of a second generation that I have ever seen. I mean, no rips or tears in the fabric. The owners have done an incredibly nice job of upkeeping this, and the parts all feel really solid still. And best of all, no cracked dashboard. That was incredibly common on Dodges of this generation, but this particular Dakota does not have that. Now, this does have an aftermarket radio in it, pretty basic radio from the factory originally in this thing, and so this one has been upgraded to a Bluetooth model. Apart from that, there is a steering wheel cover in here, though everything else inside is factory. Let's look at the door panel right here. Really, really sturdy. I just want to say how cool it is that this has held up so well. I was in another Dakota recently. There's a lot of Dakotas on my college campus, and I was just so impressed with the build quality of everything. It's so firm and sturdy. Even the hard touch plastics in here don't feel cheap. They really feel like a lot of time and engineering went into them, and I just got to commend that on Dodge's part. These door panels on the Dakotas, on this one and the other one I was in, which is a little bit newer model, it was a 2003, so it had the power window switches right here. These doors feel sturdier than my door panel on my 2019 Tacoma. I mean it. It's crazy how well the interiors on these things have held up for the most part, all things considered, really, really nicely. Moving back to the door panel really quickly though, this does have manual windows, and it also has manual locks, which is very interesting because it has power mirrors. That is a really nice detail, especially on an older truck. Like I said, this generation of stuff didn't really have a lot of luxury features, and this was fairly common at the time to have power mirrors. But interesting that you get the power mirrors, but everything else is pretty much manual on here. You'll have your headlight controls down here. Ooh, sorry for the glare. Your dome light, and then your parking brake is located down there. And then if we move to the steering wheel itself, you'll have your cruise control on here. So it does have cruise control, a little bit of fading on the buttons, but not terribly. And then if we move over here, you'll have your climate controls, pretty basic. And then your power outlets down here. And then you actually have a shifter for your four-wheel drive settings. You don't get that anymore. Most of the time it's just a dial, but it's an actual shifter on here, which is really, really nice. And then you'll get 3 cup holders. There is a passenger side grab handle, but there is no driver's side grab handle option on this 1999. For the mid-cycle refresh, I believe there was a driver's side grab handle as an option on the Dakotas, though that did get the downgraded 4.7 liter V8 on those newer models of this generation. So there is the trade-off there. Bigger and better engine on this, but you do not get the driver's side grab handle. Honestly, I know which one I would pick. And then if we move up top here, you do have your sunglasses holder, as well as your dome lights and a little storage cubby. So that's really nice to see. And then if we move back here, there is a manual sliding window. No power though, and this being a club cab, you do have rear seats. What's very interesting was that if we step out here, normally you'd have small suicide doors right here that would pull out to allow you to get back into those rear seats, but on the club cab of this generation, this is just a part of the body. This does not open up. What you'd have to do is pull your seat forward like that. There's a little latch down there, and then you would gain access to your second row. So I am 5'10", and I have a decent amount of headroom back here, but I have absolutely zero leg room. Like there is nothing back here, and I could not recommend sitting back here if you were an adult for any amount of time. Maybe a quick ride to McDonald's or something, but I would use this rear seat back here for just storage. It's nice that they have it, but this has got to be one of the most cramped rear seats I have ever been in. I think maybe only topped by the Audi TT, which has about this much legroom in the back seats. I can't even show you. Your knees are like up to your chest in the Audi TT. You don't have much legroom back there, but this is a close second in the Dakota Club Cab. Let's take this thing for a spin. Alrighty, driving the Dodge Dakota. This is my friend David, and this is his dad's Dakota. And so, as I said in the intro, they graciously allowed me to review this. I'm really thankful because this is just such a cool truck. It's got such a unique look, and already, I'm not driving this particularly fast, but I can tell that there is a difference between this and the 4.7 liter that I have previously driven. This just has a lot more pickup, and it feels a lot smoother. I will address the elephant in the room. There's probably a very loud creaking sound that you're hearing. We don't know what that is. Alrighty, so we had recorded the entire segment, we thought, where David explained the history of this truck and how he got it. and then we realized that my phone ran out of storage and we did not record it. So round 2, we're gonna pretend like this is the first time we're telling it. All right, hey David, how about you tell us about the history of this truck and how your family came to own it, how your dad ended up getting it.
Yeah, so I was spending the night at a friend's house from church, and I realized the next day that I had, or later on that day, that I had forgotten the power cord for my Xbox at his house. So I went back and I was talking with my friend's dad, and he was asking me about how I liked driving my Ram 1500, and I told him that I was really enjoying it. It's been really good to me so far. And then he said, so how would you feel about driving a Dodge Dakota? He said, it's a little bit smaller, so how would you feel about it? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not really looking to, buy another truck. I was still in high school at that point. So I told him I wasn't really interested, but hey, my dad might be interested in looking at it. So he gave me the keys. He said, all right, take it home, show it to your dad, see what he thinks of it, and maybe we can come to an agreement on it. So my parents, they were just expecting me to come back with my my Xbox cable, but instead I was bringing home a new truck for them to look at. So my dad, at first, he was like, like, it's nice, but I'm not really looking for another truck right now. Or he didn't have a truck at that point, so he just wasn't looking for a truck in general.
Yeah.
And then he started looking at it. He saw how clean it was. He knew that it had a new transmission in it. So he was like, I know the 318 is a good classic motor from Dodge.
That's good.
So we finalized some paperwork, and about a week later, we ended up owning the truck.
Great, that's awesome. Yeah, this feels fantastic. I've driven the 4.7 liter, and this just flies in comparison to the 4.7. This really just feels much more responsive. I've driven the 4.7 probably within the month, and it just screams when you're accelerating. It just screams really loudly. But when I hit accelerate on this, it gets a little loud, but it definitely is way more responsive, pedal to the metal, than that is. And the 318 is just very reliable.
It wants to go.
It does.
It really does.
That's going to wrap up my review of this 1999 Dodge Dakota Sport. I really hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would really help my channel out quite a bit. Lastly, I am a Christian, so if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you in the comment section below. And I like to close my videos with a weekly Bible verse or section of scripture. This particular section comes from Mark 4, verses 21 through 25. So Jesus is talking about salvation here, and when we have salvation, we should share it with people. We should tell other people about the gift that we've been given. Starting in verse 21, he said to them, "Do you bring in a lamp to put it under a bowl or a bed? Instead, don't you put it on its stand? For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the open. If anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. Consider carefully what you hear," he continued. "With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them." Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.